Hello and welcome to another episode of Citadel Guard Adventures. This is Beriathan of the Citadel Guard of Gondor, and we are back in Thoroval continuing our race to Agoroth with Lothrandir and King Arvedui. So we have uncovered the door already, and now let me just get the quest and get going with today's episode.
Whenever you are ready, we will enter the Narrowdelve. Not even Arvedui knows what awaits us inside, but we must reach the Oathstone before the Angmarim.
And you must not forget, you promised the Lothsod you would find a way to destroy it, so they are no longer bound by its magic. Lothrandir crosses his arms and looks down at the ice below. A wry smile appears on his face, barely visible beneath the shadows cast by his hood. Elrond did say that men might remain in the world as shades if they break their sworn promises. If we are not careful, we might share the fate of King Arvedui. Come now, let us face our destinies together. Yeah, that's the spirit, I guess. Like that's a terrible thing to say. Anyway, before going into the instance, I just wanted to check. There is a way of reaching this location on your own, of course. It's sort of covered passage in Thoroval, as you can see here on the map, and I guess you can even reach this place on your own if you are keen on exploring, I guess. But even if you end up here on your own, I don't think it's gonna be of much help. Well, on one hand, the passage is very well hidden. The only clue you have are the Grims. On the other hand, even if you get here, if you don't have the quest, if you have not unlocked the door, it's not gonna be of much use. But anyway, I just wanted a little refresher there and to show you as well how to get to this location physically without relying on the instance. And now we can finally enter Agoroth. We're gonna do this on level as I told you in the last episode. So let's go.
Deep in the frozen wilds of Thoroval, the Arnorian fortress Agoroth lies hidden. Although no living souls have set foot there for thousands of years, thou now findest thyself in a race to reach its vault before the forces of Angmar.
Alright, so here we have some lore regarding the instance. We have some deeds as well. There we go. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. As far as I remember, none of these deeds will complete as long as you're running the solo version. So we don't need to worry about that. We're just gonna start by picking the summoning horn and well, get going. Use the summoning horn to call Lothrandir. That's what we're gonna do.
Incredible! To think some remnant of Arnor still exists up here, hidden and untouched for centuries.
Alas, it appears the ice still blocks our path forward, as it did when I last came to this place, before I set sail.
Let us not give up hope so soon.
Is that it?
This ice sounds quite thin, and I think I hear something on the other side. We may be able to break through this.
Alright, so now we need to break the ice wall. Even though the instance is relatively short.
Intruders! You, alert Agoroth at once! We have almost broken through to the fortress. We cannot allow our work to be interrupted.
Oh, Gauredain as well. Well, as I was saying, even though the instance is relatively short, it has a lot of dialogue.
The Angmarim have arrived before us. How? The way is still hidden.
That's a very good question.
Seems our enemies have found another way into the Narrowdelve. They are using their fire magic to melt through the ice and snow. We must push forward. We cannot be allowed to breach the hold.
As I was saying, the instance has a lot of dialogue. You can skip a lot of it too, so if you're in a hurry, you don't need to worry about it, but, well, we're doing this for the story, so skipping the dialogue is a little counterproductive. On the other hand, this instance has also a lot of optional paths, so if you don't know where you're going, you can also get lost in here quite easily. And as far as I know, this is also another trend that was started with this instance from update 29 precisely. They having a lot of optional paths. Update 29 released with this instance Agoroth and also Woe of the Willow back in Buckland. And both those instances have lots of optional paths and optional enemies you can face that everybody skips once you get to know the path, but they are there just in case. And this is a trend that we have also seen in instances like the ones from Angmar Reborn that we just did a few episodes ago. You remember on Wathernast, there were a couple of paths and enemies, locations that were entirely optional. And it's the same trend that was started in here. But once again, if you know where you're going, you don't need to worry too much about it. And it's been a couple years since last time I did this, but I think I still remember the way around quite well. It's just, I don't want to move too far from Lothrandir because he has lots of dialogue that you wouldn't miss when you are running the 3-man version, because on the 3-man version Lothrandir is just another NPC. And he follows its own AI. But when you're doing on the solo version and he becomes an ally NPC, that means he will follow your path. So you...
I am eager to leave this frozen pit for good. No one wants to get the smell of a wet Gauredain.
Contempt is mutual, witch. Once you master us his prize, our pact is broken.
Intruders approach from behind! Ah, the ranger who has been poking around has finally arrived. So much excitement all at once. Let them observe our moment of war, and then you may incinerate them. At last. What is happening?
Sardirath, the enemy comes. Protect Agoroth and all.
No! We are so close! Angmarim, Gauredain, deal with this problem. I must contact the master at once.
What is this? Shades of Arnorians protect the hold. We must assist them.
Aye, defeating both the leader of the Angmarim and the chieftain of the Gauredain may prove our allegiance to them.
Alright. So as I was saying, there are... when Lothrandir is an ally NPC, you might miss some dialogue from him if he is not at the right location at the right time. That happened to me the first few times I ran this instance. An issue that you don't have with the group version. Something that also annoys me a little bit in here, that it's not super important, we can say, is the fact that this entire dialogue that we just saw between the Angmarim, the Gauredain, and these Shades of Arnor, you kind of miss some of it, because as you make your way down, you are attacked and you focus on defending yourself, and you might miss some of what is going on in here as well. That also happened to me the first time I came here. Of course, the Shade of Arvedui in all versions is just a regular NPC, so he follows his own path, and as far as I remember, you don't need to worry too much about missing dialogue from him. Now, in here we have a couple options. On the left we will find the Gauredain, and on the right we will find the Angmarim. You can do them in any order you like, but you need to keep in mind that the boss that you defeat in second place will get some additional buffs from the boss that you defeat in the first place. And I don't remember exactly how these buffs work, but I do remember this Angmarim boss being a pain when you fight her with the Gauredain buffs on top of her regular attacks. So I think I'm gonna go to the Angmarim side first. The boss still has some, let's say, tricky mechanics on her own, but just trying to make her life a little bit easier. And we're also trying to make this video a little bit faster. You can basically just, well, at least you could last time I did this, pick all the ads until you are right next to the door. You should be okay. Lothrandir applies.
Have breached the fortress, Master, but there is a complication. No, I will handle them myself.
So I was saying,
Outsiders, you will be destroyed at the hands of Agoroth the Ashen. The Witch King has commanded it.
Lothrandir applies an amazing buff so that you can handle all these on your own. And here we have something that I had forgotten about this instance, and it's the fact that, well, Agoroth, the first boss we're gonna face, answers to the Witch King, and we just saw the Witch King in here, so this makes me feel like all the effort I went through on the last episode trying to fit this at the later point in the timeline has basically been rendered worthless. I still stand by what I said. I still think having all this questline involving the Vandasari so early in the game reduces the impact of the actual reveal by a lot, but, well, I didn't remember this deal about the Witch King, so I'm not sure if there is a way in which we can still fit this in the way I wanted to. If we are having the Witch King in here, I will need to give this some thought. In the meantime, let's face the boss. So she applies this wall of fire. All right. As I was saying, she applies a lot of debuffs, and I don't remember exactly which. I think this fire debuff that we have, yeah, you can take it out with water by stepping in the water fountains. That one is quite a pain, but she also applies a reflect that you need to be very careful about. That one there. And of course, lagging with the reflect on is not something that you would like to do. But well, it's going quite well so far. I mean, when you know how to deal with all these debuffs, it's really not that bad. Thing is that the first time I did this instance, a couple things happened. I didn't realize what all the debuffs did, so I had that fire dot on me at all times, and the reflect also got me. But she had also been powered by the Gauredain guy.
No! Gauredain, take my power and keep your word to Angmar.
And
Horpelt does not break promises, Angmarim. It will be done.
as I said before, those buffs that the bosses give each other really complicate the fight a lot. I don't remember the specifics, but I do remember thinking that having the Angmarim boss be powered by the Gauredain was bad. That's not something that I was comfortable with. And as such, I always do it like this. The Gauredain guy gets his own buffs as well, of course. I don't remember once again the specifics of the buffs he gets, but at least I remember them being more manageable than the alternative. So let's see how we do this time around. You also gotta keep in mind when this...
They got more than they can chew, but we are still bound by pact, so I must defend them.
So I was saying, as far as I remember...
He's a chieftain of the Gauredain.
I'm going, just let me talk a little bit. As I was saying, these instances were also released before the imbued allies, before the revamp to the legendary items. So maybe the fact that we are doing this with the new allies improves things a little bit. I don't know if it's had something to do with the new allies, with the stat crunch, with the level 140 cap, or maybe it's just that I have gotten better at the game, or Beriathan is better geared than my other characters. But bottom line, I am finding this simpler, easier than I remembered, in any case. Let's see, we can apply our Javelin of the Deadly Force, that's awesome. Oh, okay. It's all coming back to me now. Although I don't remember how to counteract that. Oh well, you just once again need to keep an eye on your debuffs and you should be okay. I really don't know how you're supposed to handle that eye when you are playing this on your own. Maybe you're not supposed to handle it by any means. I'm not sure.
Soul magic is not enough, Angmarim. I go to meet my ancestors.
Stand down, Sardirath. These outsiders have proven they are not in league with the invaders. Come forward. We must speak.
Well, so the plan worked. We proved our allegiance to the Sardirath, to these shades. And here we'll get the explanation of everything that's going on, but it's a really long dialogue, so bear with me while we really get to really know what's happening in this place. So Lothrandir, if you don't mind, I really need you in here because I think you will have some dialogue with these guys too.
Hail to you, Sardirath, you said? Stone Wardens. I am Lothrandir, a ranger of the north. Adunadan. How long have you been here?
Be welcome among us, brother. We cannot say how long we have lingered. The passing of years means nothing to the dead. And who else is with thee? Another lost soul. but not one of our order. Wait, art thou? We know thee not, but there can be no mistake. Thou art a fallen king of Elendil's line. We are at thy service, my liege. Why dost thou linger in Middle Earth, honored king?
I would ask thee the same question, Captain. It has been thousands of years since anyone set foot here, living or dead.
Even a king knoweth us not. Then we truly were abandoned. Allow me to reveal our order's history. Long ago, King Valandur of Arnold ordered that a powerful relic of Numenor, the Helcessar, be moved, for the enemy had begun to strive against the West once more. He sent his son, Prince Elendur, and a contingent of knights to take the relic into hiding among the northern mountains. Here it was placed, and Agoroth built around it. Generations we protected Agoroth in secret, but then one day we all felt a great sense of unease, as if the wind carried evil itself. What followed was a storm of unnatural terror. Snow and ice fell upon the Narrowdelve for many days on end, trapping us inside. Those that did not freeze to death eventually starved. No help from Arnor came. We all perished, despairing. But we did not pass on. Our oath to protect the Helcessar had bound us to this place. The enemy had conjured a storm to destroy us, but would never have its prize. And that is why we linger. Though the vault has not been opened since Elendur sealed it, and we have never laid eyes on it, we continue to keep the Helcessar safe from the enemies of Arnor.
A tragic tale. Seems oaths really do contain great power.
Yes, especially those sworn in the presence of Avandasar. Thou deservest to finally see thy charge, Captain.
Or as I remember, you can skip all this dialogue if you just rush to the door they are about to open, but I don't remember exactly how. Once again, it's been a couple years since I ran this, but the story is really important on this occasion, so we're gonna hear it all.
I would have thee do the honors, friend.
Well, if I can do the honors, I guess you just rush in here and open the door if you want to skip the dialogue. Sounds reasonable, right? Let's open the door then. Let's do the honors. There you go. The Helcessar.
It is beautiful beyond words. Incredible. Thousands of years old, and yet completely unblemished.
Thou hast done us a great service. Please, may we know thy name, great king.
I am Arvedui, son of Arafant, the last ruler of the Northern Kingdom.
The last king? Much has happened since we perished here. Perhaps there is something the Sardirath can do to help thee, my king. Wilt thou tell us why thou lingerest?
Very well. When I began my reign, chaos had already begun to overtake the realm. Arnor had broken into 3 lesser kingdoms long before my time, and we could no longer withstand the forces of the Witch King of Angmar. Eventually, so few of us remained that we were forced to flee into Thoroval to escape them. We hid like hunted animals in the hills, in caves, abandoned dwarf mines. The Lothrandir aided us in our most desperate hour. My pride would not allow me to stay in the safety of their village. I was desperate to retake my kingdom. My son Aragorn, safe with his mother in Rivendell, pleaded for aid on my behalf. His words were heard, and Lord Círdan sent a ship of his own make to find us in Thoroval. It was then that I learned that Eärnur of Gondor and a host of elves planned to make war with Angmar, to defeat them for good and to retake Fornost. I felt hope for the first time in years, but it was folly. The Lothrandir warned us to wait for winter to end, for the reach of the Witch King is long. If only I had listened. In my hubris, I ignored them, wishing to reach our allied forces in time, wishing to be there when they were victorious, to reclaim my throne. So many men and elves died for my desires.
Thy choices weigh heavy on thee, King Arvedui. But I would see this woe for myself. Before the Helcessar, the truth will be revealed.
Once again, you can stand in the beams of light to begin the encounter. Yeah, you can stand on the beams of light to skip the dialogue in front of the Helcessar. There was a ring of light in front of the Helcessar, so just step into it. If you wanna skip that portion of the instance. There are 2 Lothrandirs in here. Weird, but well, not gonna question it that much. And here is the only chance we ever get at looking at King Arvedui before he became a shade. It's just, man, I'm trying to get a picture of the king, but I guess this is the best I can do. Anyway, here is the king. He's gonna tell us the story of how he came to be in here. I mean, yeah, this is not a good picture, but now that we are seeing him up close, you can also see the resemblance with Aragorn, which makes sense considering we're looking at one of his ancestors? No, my god, yeah, the Dunedain are the descendants of the old kingdom of Arnor, and Aragorn had a claim to both Arnor and Gondor, so yeah, I think, yeah, it has to be right. Arvedui has to be one of Aragorn's ancestors, or at the very least, well, distant kin. So our resemblance is warranted, but there you have it. Now, you would remember also at the end of the last episode, I told you if you were doing the group version, at some point you needed 3 people to advance, and this is the moment in which that happens. If you're running the group version, you will have 3 beams of light, and you're gonna stand them on them all at the same time to continue. But here in the solo version, we only have this one, right? Is this one? Yeah.
Reniohin! Tolgui Arana Wythin!
English, please.
The Lothrandir troubled over nothing. The sky is cloudless, the sea calm.
Any ship built by Lord Círdan is most sound.
but the Losoth are wise to fear the dark magic of Gularan. Keep on your guard. There is Arvedui, and he's alive! Is this a vision of the past?
Indeed, Lothrandir. We are to see the moment of the Thoroval's doom.
Is it really possible for the Witch King to summon a storm? How could he possess such power?
Powers from ages past still lingers in this world, held by the wise and those who die not. Servants of the enemy are not to be underestimated. Something is wrong. Can you feel it?
Yes. Even without my body, I sense the change. I feel chilled in my very spirit. The last time I felt this way was just before the fell storm that doomed the Sardirath.
Even knowing what is destined to happen here, I'm still filled with dread. Ablathim! Toligoth!
By the Vala! How can a storm build so quickly?
Brace yourselves, Dunedain! He has found us! What is that? Can they not see him?
It seems the Witch King has real power, even in a vision of the past. Be ready for anything.
I always am. Do we need to take this guy someplace else? To apply a debuff? Increase the damage? Anything? Or is this the way it is supposed to be? Will not escape. I'm not trying to escape. Oh yeah, he was applying... Well, he used a skill in there. Maybe we needed to hide behind the mast. Well, we're doing so good now that we don't need to worry about that.
We've lost control! The ship is being torn apart!
Curse thee, Witch King of Angmar! I will not allow thee to win! I swear I will not be the last king! Ah!
We are back in Agoroth. We defeated the Witch King's manifestation. But the Thoroval still perished at sea.
The past cannot be changed, but we can learn from what we witnessed.
Never thought I would have to live through my death a second time. So many lost because of my actions. My damnable pride. Why did I not heed the words of the Losoth Elder? Was it to escape the frozen squalor of a refugee? To reclaim my status as royalty, or deliver vengeance upon Angmar?
King Arvedui, forgive me for my curt words, but I see no reason for thou to punish thyself still for thine own demise. Thou wert desperate, true, but for haste, not for an end to thy suffering. Thou had just learned that thine allies were on their way to retake thy kingdom from thy most hated enemy. It was thy duty as king to take part in that battle, to regain thy throne upon victory. Hadst thou waited until spring or summer, it may have very well been too late. The elves and Dunedain on that ship suffered not because of thee. They died at the hands of the Witch King of Angmar, as did we of the Sardirath. They suffer no regret or resentment on thy behalf. All have moved on, and so should thee.
Captain. Thy words ring true. My haste stemmed from a sense of duty. It was a great tragedy, but possibly an unavoidable fate. Perhaps I can finally begin to forgive myself. I thank thee, Captain, for thy honesty. I feel lighter, unburdened, but still, I cannot move on.
I have a thought. We heard you speak just before the end, Arvedui. Your final words. You swore to not be the last king. Is it possible that oath, made with such conviction in the face of death, is what really keeps you here?
Thou mayest be right, Lothrandir. What thou sayest about Aragorn be true. He is my last hope. It may only be a matter of time. I have one last wrong to right before then. Captain, assemble thy order. I would address them all.
As thou wishest.
Sardirath of Agoroth, let me first offer my apologies. Because your order was secret to all but the kings, when on or broke into 3 kingdoms you were forgotten, abandoned, left to languish in this place in frozen solitude. My line failed you. I cannot undo the damage done, but it is within my power to do this. I say now as the last king of Arvedui, that your oaths are fulfilled. Let Agoroth be abandoned, for the Helcessar no longer needs protectors.
But sire, the enemy has found this place. The Helcessar needs protection now more than ever.
No longer, for we have one last oath to keep, that made to the Losoth. Join me, Sardirath. Lend me your strength, and let it be done. With the power of the Helcessar diminished, you may finally rest.
I thank thee, my king. May thou find thy rest as well.
No, I thank thee, Captain, for thy words have freed me from the shackles of despair.
I think that's it. So we can grab the chest. You can grab this chest at any point you like, and that way you don't need to wait until the dialogue ends to get your loot. Now we just need to talk to Lothrandir before we're kicked out.
We have done it! The combined power of Arvedui and the Sardirath was enough to destroy the Helcessar for good.
We have kept our word to the Lothsot, kept the Witch King from corrupting the relic, and freed the Sardirath from their oath, allowing them to rest. And it seems they are not the only ones who have achieved some overdue peace. Arvedui's spirit seems to have changed from our experiences together, as if a great weight has been lifted from his shoulders. You should speak to him and see if this be so.
I feel my connection to this world fading, but I cannot yet move on.
Glamagul's honest words and the knowledge that my line continues still have freed me from despair. I could never have imagined that in death I would finally deal a meaningful blow to Angmar. My deepest thanks to thee and to Lothrandir Were it not for thy actions, I would still be haunting the shipwreck of the Thoroval, overcome with despair until the end of days. When thou returnest to Rivendell, offer my salutations to Elrond and Aragorn, but please do not share with my heir that I can only rest upon his coronation. He carries the weight of the world as it is. I wish him fortune in the many battles to come. Farewell for now, Beriathan. I will linger in the shadows, unseen, until the day I may depart. And I think this is the end of the instance. So I have some thoughts, of course, that I would like to share with you. First of all, I think we'll need to leave this instance manually, but that's okay. Let me just double check. We got, yeah, not something that I'm particularly fond of, really. But with this out of the way, we can consider this quest line done. For the time being, at least, we're not gonna talk to Elrond in Rivendell. We're gonna write to Evendim, to Lake Evendim. We're gonna write there on our own. In the meantime, I can give you some of the thoughts I have about all this. So once again, maybe fitting this quest line at this moment in the timeline doesn't work as good as I initially thought it would be, but I still think compromises can be made for this to fit. Just let me know in the comments if you agree with my ideas or not, if you think maybe I am overcomplicating myself. That is a possibility, but I cannot stress enough how much I prefer everything relating to the Band Society to be left for after the Mordor besieged storyline. So on that regard, on the first hand, the vision, let's say, of the Witch King that we get on the Angmarim boss, I think can be safely ignored. I think we can all agree that the Angmarim can get those sort of spells and sorceries from other sources, not necessarily the Witch King. So on that regard, we can just pretend that didn't happen, or at least I will, to give me some peace of mind. Then we'll get another vision of the Witch King, but that is a vision of the past, so there is no biggie, no big deal on that one. Anyway, and we finally know why Arvedui has remained a shade for so many years. And once again, I'm not sure if the LOTRO had an answer for this ever since they introduced Arvedui in book 13. It's a possibility, but they might have just worked this detail in, and they chose to use Arvedui's shade as a way of doing some lore, some exposition, and connecting the game, the early days of the game with the bigger lore of Middle-earth. I don't know, but at least we already have an answer to that, which, I don't know, it's a little bit ironic and a little bit sad. Arvedui swearing he will not be the last king, when that is precisely what his name means. Poor guy. He was doomed from the start. If I remember correctly from the appendices, there was a prophecy of sorts that if X thing happened, if Arvedui was able to, I don't remember, marry, I don't remember exactly, but there was some conditions by which he wouldn't be the last king of Arnor, and instead he would be able to reunite Arnor and Gondor. That didn't come to pass, of course, and instead Arvedui became the last king of Arthedain and Arnor by extension. And it seemed to me, yeah, the devs were just pointing how ironic that is. But that adds an extra layer of tragedy to Arvedui's story, if you ask me. Condemned to remain in the world just because he doesn't like his name. Not exactly that, but you get what I mean. In any case, we also got that explanation, that revelation. And once again, since this quest line was made for levels 50 and up, the way this is designed, you just go and talk to Elrond and explain what happens, and Elrond would, if memory serves me right, would say something along the line. So, all right, that's interesting. I didn't know that, but I agree with Arvedui. Let us not tell this to Aragorn to put some extra pressure on him. Let's him just focus on the War of the Ring, and whatever has to happen will happen. So you might be asking, how exactly can we make this fit with the storyline, the moment in the storyline we are at, now that Aragorn has been crowned and has wed Arwen? And I guess that can linger on a technicality. Aragorn has been crowned, yes, as the king of the reunited kingdom of Gondor and Arnor, but even though he already has the scepter of Annúminas, he hasn't come here to Annúminas himself to reclaim the throne of Arnor. So we can assume until Aragorn comes here north, Arvedui will remain as a shade in Middle-earth. So Aragorn needs to physically travel to Annúminas and reclaim that throne for Arvedui's oath to be fulfilled so that he can depart. That is another compromise that I think it's very well in line with what the game has already established, and once again something that will give me some peace of mind. What else can we say about this entire quest line? I had another point I wanted to touch upon, but it has escaped me. Well, it's the overall tragedy of King Arvedui and the revelation of the Helcessar, of course, but oh my god, I forgot what I was about to say. I was so into Aragorn's coronation and him reclaiming the throne of Annúminas that I totally forgot what I was about to say. It's quite late at night too, so I'm a little bit sleepy. Seems like a good enough explanation, but I still want to remember what I wanted to say. It'll come back to me. Just give me a second. Oh, I don't remember, but let's find another topic. Anyway, we were decided to do all this as I mentioned on the last episode, just because I don't have the Vandasari to show up so early in the game, and technically, well, we're two different storylines that are. The common thread between them is the idea of the importance of oaths and broken oaths, because, well, on one hand, the Helcessar that had bound the Lothsod of Forohel in allegiance to Arnor, but on the other hand, Arvedui's oath bounding him to remain in Middle-earth. Well, we're glad we were able to destroy that Helcessar too. That's one less to worry about. So we have the Helcessar and the Tauressar hut being destroyed. At the beginning of the Mordor Besieged storyline, we learned that Lendelin destroyed one of those at Umbar, I believe it was. And then inside Barad-dûr, he destroyed the other one that was binding the Easterlings. We also have the Stone of Erech, which is the Black Vandasar, that bound the hillmen of the mountains of the Blackroot Vale, but that gives us 5 Vandasari, if I am counting right. So we need to learn about 2 more of them. Now, technically, I think the game has already said what had happened to all 7 of the Vandasari. So I don't think there is too much room for new storylines in here, but well, you never know. Now that we have taken care of that with Aragorn, for Aragorn and Elrond, we are just trolling back to Annúminas and get ready for the last leg of our journey. We can say that's gonna be on the next one, but let me just finish my ride. I enjoy a casual stroll through Evendim, we can say. Fast forward, long time no see. Been a long while. Now we of course cannot finish this quest right now because, well, we need to talk to Elrond, and I would still need to go to Rivendell to turn in the quest. But once again, what we're gonna do is continuing with our little headcanon of this story. I'm gonna show you the quest for completion when we get back to Minas Tirith Midsummer. I'm not sure if at some point we will need to talk to Elrond or not, but it seems fitting that we can see the end of this quest line at Minas Tirith. Alright, we're almost there. Not Annúminas, but we're gonna make a technical stop in here. You can see this as a sort of gathering supplies, getting ready, maybe even getting some good rest before going to Annúminas one last time. So the idea in here is, well, Beriathan will be coming back to Midsummer. Once again, there's no coming back here to Annúminas for the foreseeable future, at least. And, well, even though Beriathan is a man of Gondor, he still loves and respects his entire heritage, and that includes, well, Elendil and the Faithful, and the Kingdom of Arnor in the north. So even though he has had the chance of visiting Annúminas a couple times already, I guess this is also Beriathan's way of saying, well, goodbye. I'm not sure when I will see you again, so I just wanted to honor the memory of my ancestors as much as I could. And that is the reason why on the next one we will be going back to Annúminas. We'll make a quick visit to the city, maybe even get some of the explorer deeds that we are missing. In Annúminas, I will need to double check that one. But what we are gonna do is now take the big north-south road, the old road from Annúminas to Minas Tirith, going here from Parth. Well, we're gonna do the thing right. We're gonna go here to Annúminas. Then we're gonna leave the city. We will need to, well, go north through the Colossus. Then here the North Downs. We're gonna stop by the gates of Fornost. I don't think we're gonna enter Fornost. We're just gonna take a quick look then down below the Greenway, all the way to Cardolan, and Swampfleet will need to cross Thoroval, and we'll see how we get to do that in just, well, when we get there, really. And then Enedwaith, Dunland, the Gap of Rohan that I just lost. The Gap of Rohan, Elras, the Beacon Hills. And after the Beacon Hills, well, the Forest for Anorian and Old Anorian, until we finally get to Minas Tirith and we can answer Aragorn's summons. And in there, we are gonna, well, have our little headcanon of Beriathan bringing the news about Arvedui to Aragorn and Elrond. We'll need to double check how this quest actually works, how this quest actually ends, so that I can prepare for that episode when we get there. For the time being, though, this has been all on today's episode of Citadel Guard Adventures. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you on the next one. Until then, my friends, stay safe, take care, good luck to you all, and I will see you later.